Are you a seasoned professional in the electrical industry, or are you just getting started and you're saying, hey, I want to be an electrician? Then you're going to want to listen to these episodes. Brian Duffy, who's been in the industry for 30 years as an apprentice, as a business owner, is sharing a lot of deep secrets on what the electrical field is about. And that's what this podcast is. We're going to be going step by step on the importance of all these different things. So please enjoy the episodes. Brian's a lot of fun to listen to, and I hope you have a great day. Cheers.
Look at those
Wait.
forearms.
Why is it working?
I have no idea why mine does.
Used to work. Come on, baby. Don't let. Oh, there's the other one. Hey, this one.
This is going to be the beginning of the episode.
Good.
Awesome. I'm pretty excited about this.
So good. Yeah. Thanks for having me. And this is going to be fun.
On your own viewpoint, what are some of the things that an electrician should avoid, whether it be a beginner or an advanced professional?
Okay. So a brand new guy.
Yeah.
We have a lot of brand new guys. So they're kind of good interview. They look good. They sound good. But then when you get them out onto the job,
Mhm.
they're not willing to do what an electrician does.
Mhm.
And it's like this conflict that doesn't belong in the workplace. Like it's their conflict, not ours. So I've developed this is something I've learned recently with the last guy. We do testing as well, and you can get guys and they check all the boxes, and then you hire them, and then then the attitude shows up of they're just ready and happy to do what we do. Do you even know why you're here?
Mm.
And in most cases, I don't think they know. So they're just in search of some check, and it's not the right place. They need to go on to where they want to do. It's obviously something they don't want to do.
Interesting.
But when you're a new person, you're doing, the electrician doesn't want to do. Like clean up the truck.
Okay.
Yeah, take out the trash.
Hmm.
Go grab me a tool from the truck. Jump into the attic while it's 130 degrees up there. These guys come in with this mentality from their last job, and they think they have some power, and that's a mistake, right? You think that you can just cruise in do the same thing that you were doing at the last job that you got fired for.
Okay.
See, they don't reset their mind and say, okay, hey, new game, new system. I don't know anything. So I've got to find out. Yeah. I got to find out what it is any of these people they need. A lot of guys don't do that. They omit that. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. To try to make their own schedule. Like that last guy was telling us when he was going to be here. We were like, that's not how jobs work. Like we have a schedule.
Yeah.
And then you arrive at that schedule. And if you're not here, you're late. And that's a very bad sign. When someone comes in late, you're probably just better off. Like if you have a guy and he started and he said, okay, be in here at 7:30, and he arrived in at 8 o'clock or something and didn't call you, you're better off just getting rid of him.
Wow.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't care about when to show up. And I think I remember you talking about there was another guy that you had on, and he decided when he was going to go home. And it's like, we are in the middle of a project. And he's like, yeah, I'm leaving though.
Why? Like he's kind of acting like the boss.
Right.
Like he's actually acting like the boss of the company or the foreman or something. It's an interesting state of mind. It's like it's actually if you take a look at that, it's just like he's totally not in present time. What's occurring right in front of him is not what's up here.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be, you can fight and battle and handle that, which I've done.
Yeah.
There's plenty just understand, like, okay, you know, job here, you know, because I'll go over a few basics with people. Your job here is to help this electrician. Whatever it is, just do it.
Mm.
Just help him, support him, and you'll be fine. Do your job. That's your job. You're an apprentice. You're here to work and you're here to learn. You're here to work. Like, you're here to work.
Yeah.
Is an action word. It's a verb, an activity
Activity that you do.
that has motion.
Hmm.
And it's not standing around, sitting around, like, and moving slowly. That's not what work is.
Hmm. Hmm. And I want to touch on this with what you're talking about, because you've been in the industry for a very long time. What's like, would you say the expectancy of, like, some days you just got to work till 10 p.m.?
Like, we do service work. So what's that in brand new buildings? From we're going into buildings and we're repairing them, or we're updating them or onto them. For example, like last week, we arrived on a job at, his name was Junior. Right, we arrived at the job. It was PM, I think it was a Friday night. And so Junior, like, has his whole night planned, even though he was made aware that, you know, work late, sometimes you go home early. You know, we take it job by job.
Hmm.
Like, home at 2 o'clock, maybe. The next day you might be working till 10 o'clock.
Hmm.
Might happen. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens, especially in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have seasons. Our work is seasonal.
Yeah.
Like in the winter, it's slow.
Mm.
Summer, it's very extremely busy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's the type of business we do, is like that. But anyway, he says, well, okay, I gotta go home. And I borrow a car.
Not only does he want to leave early, he also wants to borrow a vehicle.
He wants to borrow and the Ben who's on the job is looking at him going,
Wow.
you're here like on trial.
Yeah.
I don't even know who you are. Like, this guy must be out of his mind.
Yeah. Clearly.
But, you know, on the interview, he did good,
Mm.
you know, and then, you know, when he was let go, he was all upset.
Of course.
Yeah. And he's like, he wanted me to handle it for him. This is how crazy it is. And he says, you know, yeah, but about this job. And I says, whoa, before you get into it, because he called me up. I said, your problem is with Fabian. Fabian doesn't think you want to do this job.
Mm.
He goes, yeah, but you're the boss. And I said, yeah, exactly. I'm the owner. He's our foreman. He does the hiring and firing. And you didn't meet his standards, so call Fabian.
Wow.
He wanted to have it out with me because he knew I wasn't there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, and he just goes from job to job, probably doing this, just getting a paycheck.
Hmm.
Which he really does, to be quite honest. But we caught him quickly. I've had guys, you know, I've over the years of identifying and not hiring, or quickly showing them the door when really they're not there to do what we do. They're
Mm.
not there to play the game.
Mm.
They're there to play some other game,
Yeah.
which
So,
goes against our game.
right. So kind of like the real way to start figuring this out is not only on the interview, but what they actually do on the job.
You want to help people out. You want to give them a job. You want to give them a chance.
Yeah, of course.
You know, they're people and they need work.
Yeah.
I want to help that.
Mm-hmm.
So you just stamping on people, or, you know, making them go somewhere else when they could have worked out. So that it goes both ways.
Mm.
To know the good and you need to know the bad. And
Mm.
that's a skill.
Okay. Okay. That's valid.
Yeah.
So going back to this a little bit, because you're talking about, you know, some days we end off at 2 p.m., sometimes we got to work till 10. How do you go about organizing your day if sometimes you work 10 p.m. and end at 10 p.m. and some days you end at 2 p.m.? Like, how do you organize your day or organize with somebody else when you make plans to kind of accommodate this schedule that could be a potential.
Oh, I got you now. Yes. Well, it's kind of simple.
Okay.
So I've always operated on just like if I have a deadline. So the way I did that is I would have certain things that I would need to do at certain times.
Hmm.
Like I even worked a part-time job. You know, I had to be there at a certain time. So I would set myself up for that.
Okay.
And literally, because I had decided I was going to be at such and such a place at 6:30 p.m.,
Okay.
I just made it happen. I would make it happen
Oh,
no
wow.
matter what. That's how I would handle that. And like with the guys, it's just rare. Guys come in at 7, usually 4 o'clock.
Okay.
But you know, it's a rarity. We're talking about a rarity here where it's like you walk onto a job, listen, we're gonna work late tonight, we're gonna come in at 10 a.m. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I'm not interested in having like the way I run the business,
Hmm.
Duffy Electric is I want people to be able to think for themselves. So I give freedom. When someone says, "Hey Brian, you know, I do a job. Do I come home or do I tomorrow? What do I do?" I say, "Well, look, you know, depending on the guy, say, look, you're pretty experienced now. Look, you know, I'm gonna back you up on your decision,
Mm.
whatever you do.
Okay.
I trust you to do the right thing for yourself, for the company. See, you take into account that you have a family.
Hmm.
I know you've got a wife that needs you now, right? Or whatever it is, you know. I've been there, done that. So
Okay.
I say, okay, like do the right thing. What's the best thing to do here? You know, okay, good. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then we can come back here first thing in the and everything will be good.
Mm.
Okay, no problem. That
Okay.
works then. But
Okay.
I have him solve the problem.
Right.
So then he stops calling me then. He just starts. See, what I'm doing is I'm training him to
Yeah.
solve his own problems.
I
He
see.
thinks I created that problem because
Mm.
I'm the boss. I'm not even there. My head up in somewhere else. I don't know where I could be. You see, but in from that view, so that's one of the viewpoints I try to change. Like a viewpoint is just a way of thinking about something. So we've got to get the right viewpoint of exchanging with the environment. And that's what you're doing.
Wow. So what I'm hearing and what I'm getting out of this is that the main thing is it's about creating solutions and solving the problem and making it so that you can just complete the job and get it done and so that everybody is a-okay with the situation. And if that means showing up tomorrow in the morning or finishing it and staying a little bit later, that either of those is fine, but it's just creating the solution and doing it so that way it's completed. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Like, you know, take a little bit of causation for what you created. You walked in on this job.
Mm.
Yeah, but the boss sent me.
Okay.
Okay. Well, they called us and you work here.
Right.
So they called you as well. They didn't just call me. I don't do jobs.
Right.
I own the business. I've
Yeah.
been doing jobs for 30 years.
Wow.
I can do my eyes blind, you know, two arms tied behind my back. That's not the point.
Right.
Point is you're here and you got the call and you're here
Yeah.
and now you're there and now there's this situation and now your job is to solve it. So
Wow.
let's Mr. Solver of problems. You know, it's taken me time to get to that position. So, and I would like others to get to that position because it's pretty good to be in. Like it's more free. It's you're more in control
Mm.
and you're more in communication with
Mm.
people.
Mm.
You know, you're more
Nice.
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're actually more alive. So that's the way I would treat my job is you know, it's something that I can live.
Yeah.
It's not something that I have to do or anything like that.
Okay. Okay. And also what I'm getting from you or what I'm hearing is that it's a sense of taking a bit of responsibility when you're going on to the jobs. Like it's not it's not your job. It's not Brian's job. It's now my job. I am there. I am seeing what's going on. I have to make the decisions. I have to make the calls, and I have to figure out what it's going to take to get this done. And that's the most important thing. Is that
There you go.
okay?
How do you think you're ever going to get better? You are going to have to take some responsibility for it.
Mm,
You're
mm.
never going to be able to do it unless you take responsibility. You're not, if you don't take a responsibility for work, you're never going to be able to eat dinner at the table.
Right, right. So let's go into this a little bit more, because now we're getting into this idea of, okay, I'm taking responsibility for it. I'm not just trying to like wuss my way out of a job and say, oh, I just can't, I don't want to, or oh, I got my 6 o'clock thing, I got to go watch my show with my buddy or whatever. We're talking about, we're taking responsibility, we're being on the job, we're trying to handle this, we're coming up with a solution for it. Now, at what point do you say, okay, now I need to call in and ask for help? Like, at what point do you kind of make the determining factor on, okay, this situation I need to ask for help on. I shouldn't try to figure this one out for myself.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you see, that's a different situation.
Okay.
So now what you've done is you've ran out of ideas.
Okay.
So now you've exhausted your repertoire of knowledge and skill.
Okay.
And it's like, hey, Brian, I got this situation going on. I don't know what did A, I tried B, that ain't working. It's a different flow, isn't it? Like it's a different conversation.
Totally. Oh yeah.
It's not, you're not a problem necessarily. You're saying, okay, like, so now I have the option of saying, okay, have you tried C? I've done that before for that situation and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I haven't. I never thought. Okay, good. Give it a go and give me a call back and let me know how it goes.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay.
See, you can't bottleneck a company. A bottleneck is where everything gets jammed, like bottleneck traffic jams, like where all these lanes are coming into this small one lane. Yeah, all this information and communication is just going to come to the boss.
Okay.
Yeah. The customer says, I need, this happens a lot. I just sent out a video somebody sent me, which is very funny. I should have sent it to you. And it's like the example they were given. What if we spoke to a waiter at a restaurant that we're down to have a meal at, the way we speak to contractors?
Oh, wow.
Right? So they gave some examples of like, so you ask the guy, okay, how much is the steak? He says it's $12. You go, what? Gotta be kidding me, $12. Let me call Uncle Joey down in Florida. Uncle Joey has the exact same story. Oh, he's in the trade 20 years. You're robbing me. The waiters just stand there going, I don't care. Like, that's not like, why are we having this conversation?
Why are we talking about this?
Yeah, it's a very funny video and it's very correct. I guess it's a habit that society's gotten into. But anyway, I think does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid answer. I want to, there's something else I want to ask you about this too. Here's my plan. This is what I'm thinking about doing. This is how I think this will go. I want feedback. Like, is that more of an appropriate type of phone call to have at that point? Is that because you're not trying to like say I need you to solve anything for me. I'm just double checking to make sure this is okay.
You're getting paid to solve problems.
Yeah. Okay.
Like your job is to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've got to make that more clear. Like, that's why we have you here. Have you go out, observe problems, and call your boss. That's not your job.
Okay.
That's incomplete.
Wow.
And not only are you half doing your job, then you're bringing the problem. Like, why don't we just send the boss out and just not have you there then?
Right. Why do we even send this guy out here?
See, you have to ask that question, like,
Wow.
hey, why are you there?
Yeah.
Your job is to solve problems for this
Hmm.
company.
Hmm.
The only reason buys is if you solve their problem. So that's an important datum there. There's a fact that has importance in the business of contracting
Hmm.
and selling things to people is like you have to solve a problem.
Mm.
Nobody will pay you.
Right.
Yeah, they'll find somebody else who will solve the problem.
Hmm.
So then what are you doing when you're not solving the problem? Making problems for the boss that he's paying you to solve. Now it doesn't make sense. Your relationship is failing. It's a bit of a dangerous situation. You're putting yourself in danger. And if the boss solves it for you, the
Hmm.
boss is putting himself in danger. Hey, boss, I got this problem. Um, you know, blah, blah, blah with the light switch. And, okay, we'll solve it.
Hmm.
You're there to get that done. You're the electrician. That's why we pay you.
Hmm.
Oh,
Hmm.
I don't know how to do it. Okay, well, then why are you saying you're an electrician?
Mm.
Electricians know how to solve that. That
Yeah.
so you're getting to the truth of things right there.
Hmm.
Sometimes people are on an automatic and they just need to snap out of it. That usually brings them in, oh my God, like I am getting paid to be here. Good.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
I'm getting paid to be here and I'm supposed to things. Holy shit.
I'm
I didn't
supposed to
know that.
work.
Okay. All right, boss. Thanks a lot. See you later.
Right. Right.
And off they go, and they probably go good then.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's just we can get mixed up and confused in our
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
You can get kind of lost and
Yeah.
confused.
Totally.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Cool. So and I agree with you. The the one thing I want to kind of touch on and get your viewpoint on this, and is this idea of double checking your work is essentially all it is. It's basically like, you know, if I were to call in and say, "Hey, I just want to make sure this is all good with this idea." And where this comes from, just to give like a little bit more preface, is this originally came from this. There was a 1994 study by the railway, and it showed that pointing and calling reduces mistakes by almost 85% when doing a simple task. So all pointing and calling is literally as it sounds. You point to something and you call it, and it was originally used in railways in the railway system to prevent errors that could occur. And it started off as it was a safety check. That's all it was. They look before they take off. They poke their heads out. They make sure everything's clear. They make sure that's good. Okay, good. Now we leave. And they also used it when they were pointing out to make sure, we're on the right track. Okay, we're on the red lane. Yes, we're on the red lane. Good. And I originally started using this before I became aware of it, and when I was at a catering company, and they almost fired me. They were like, "Dude, you can't make any more mistakes. Like you are on thin ice." So I had to think of a way to stop that from happening. I had to figure out something. It didn't even matter what it was, but I had to figure out something to stop that from occurring. And what I did is I actually started to use this without knowing what it was. And I just referred to it as double checking my work. Sometimes I would triple check to make sure I had everything in the catering van to make sure that when I got to a job, that I'd have all the supplies that I needed, because that was the actual problem. I went to a job and I didn't bring some of the supplies that I needed. And because of that, every job I went to after I figured that method out was like 1 for 1. Like all of them went smoothly after I had figured that out. And so I'm just trying to think of that in relation to, going out on jobs or making sure everything's good, to just double check to say, okay, I have all my supplies. I made it to the job. I have all my tools. Okay, good. That's fine. Good. Go. Now, the other way I can double check is saying, okay, good. Here's my plan. I'm planning on coming back tomorrow. And I already talked with the homeowner. They're totally fine with me being here at this time. I just want to make sure you're also good with that plan. Like, what are your, like, my idea is I'd come in early. I'd take the vehicle out. I might even just take the vehicle home with me, but I just want to double check with you to make sure that's okay. Like, what's your kind of viewpoint on that?
Yeah, to me, that's just the point of coordination.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like you've already decided what the best thing to do is. Because remember, you're the man on the ground. You know more than I do. I'm not. See, you're the man on the ground. You've talked to the customer. You've observed the project. I'm in the office. I'm talking to someone about hiring, or I'm talking about, or I'm writing up something, or I'm filing a job. I'm not, you see?
Yeah.
So we're doing different things, and it's just the point of like, hey, we got this job. It's going to take a day. Is it okay if I take Napoleon on this job tomorrow? He's booked with Fabian. How about I give you George? Okay, yeah, he'll do. So let's get him out. Boom, boom. So point of coordination with the office.
Okay.
So that's important, like so that everyone knows what's happening. But that's not presenting a problem to be solved by somebody else because they can't solve it. You see, only you can solve your own problem. You're the one who created it. Now that's a pretty tough thing to consider, right? But when you look it over,
Yeah.
And you say, well, I'm here and I did get the call and I did take this job and I am here to do this. This is what I'm here to do. And they're giving me a check every week. And now I'm just feeling tired and I don't really want to be here, but that's jobs. Jobs are not, it's not always a walk in the park. So that's when the responsibility is low and you can, there's ways of raising your responsibility, so like there's a book, just raise your knowledge on the subject of responsibility called the QBQ, the question behind the question. It's a very simple book,
Oh, nice.
but a great book. Great book. You'd be done with it in a few hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It specifically relates to electrical work or what?
No, relates to all jobs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, any job.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. QBQ, great book.
Okay. How do you spell that? Just
the letter Q for quick.
Okay.
And B for it's the Q. B is before. Here, let me look it up actually.
That's okay.
Q. Oh, sorry, behind the question behind the question.
That's what it's called, question behind the question.
QBQ,
Cool.
short.
Cool.
Great book.
That's awesome.
So this is a simple way. It's just one way. There's lots of ways. There's one simple way to just raise a level of responsibility in any job.
Cool.
Anyway.
Yeah, I like that. So I guess just to because this is one of the first episodes, and I feel like we're doing great. Like this is really helpful. I know we talked about this already. So for apprentice who's just starting out, let's just say first day on the job, the most important things for him are to help, to work, and what was the other one?
To learn.
Learn. Okay, good. That would make sense. Work, help, and learn.
Yeah, you're primarily there to work. You're getting paid.
Task number one, you're there to work.
You're there to work, and that's to get stuff accomplished, completed.
Okay.
Right? If you look at it, and then, you've got, we're here to help. We're going into them with their problem. They have a problem. That's the only reason they or email or reached out to us is because they have a problem that they can't handle.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense.
That's it. Yeah, it's the only reason. There isn't any other they called.
Mhm.
Unless they're a little cuckoo. Well,
We actually needed a plumber.
when we come out there, like, you don't need an electrician. You need like someone to do the blacktop the driveway.
But you know what this actually reminds me of, this whole conversation, is when I came up to New York to visit you, or it was like for a variety of reasons, but when hanging out with you and going on a couple of those jobs with you, there was that woman who owned the building, and it was like, I think it was like an 8-story building, and it was a bar, and she was having problems with her AC, right?
Okay.
And instead of saying, oh, I can't do this, or I don't have X, Y, and Z, you called Adrian and said, hey, you know how to fix this. Like, you were being a problem solver at that point in time. You weren't like, oh, let's find somebody else to do the job. Like, you were actually really resourceful way before you needed to get on that job, because you had decided he was a good person to, have around, and you wanted to work with him and that sort of thing.
This was like Andre, you mean?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I vaguely remember that call, and it must have been a HVAC problem.
Yes, yeah, that's what we kind of came down to the
Oh,
conclusion
this
of.
was the Irish person.
Yeah, you really liked her.
Lady. Yeah, right. The thing is like not giving up and just walking out and leaving them with nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, say, well, wait a minute, let me give Andre a call.
yeah.
Because you're in the trades, people, so
Are you saying something else?
there. Well, he doesn't do wills, but he knows a guy who does.
Sorry, you just cut out. What did you say?
Like a lawyer,
Okay.
right? He doesn't do wills,
Yeah,
but he knows a guy who does.
I see.
So he can solve it. You see, he knows he's trustworthy and he can solve the problem.
I see. And so, like, let's say, like being an apprentice or even one of the guys on the job, and you're in that position because you're the owner of the company, so you're totally fine reaching out to said person and saying, hey, I want you to come by and check out this job. But as a point of coordination, if you were just one of the guys who was on the job, would you contact the person you needed to, and then and say, okay, good, he said he can make it out here. He said he was going to be about 2 hours. Let me call Brian back and say, hey, Brian, this is the situation. This is what's going on. I've called my buddy. This isn't an electrical thing. This is an HVAC thing. He said he's going to take 2 hours, but I just want to make sure you know what's going on. Like, here's kind of what's the scene. This is why I'm on the job. This is what's happening, and I just want you to know. That's not even necessarily saying, like, here's a problem or I need a solution. You're just kind of saying, this is what's happening as a sequence of things, and I just want to make sure you're aware of it. Is that a good approach, do you think, or what are your thoughts?
Like when you think, like when things just come up on the job, like we got called to that particular job on 9th Avenue in New, for example,
Yeah.
and they called us as we were told it was an electrical problem.
Yeah.
And then I came out and found out the electric was open, and it was not an electrical problem. So I went out and proved that. So then I knew Andre could fix that.
Right.
It's a HVAC. And well, I called Andre, told him what was happening. He goes, okay, that's a HVAC problem. We could fix that.
Okay.
And then, so that's remember, then we went and had some food.
Yeah.
We waited for Andre to come out, and then we went back up there.
Yeah.
And we went through the troubleshooting process.
Right. Yep, that's true. And so I guess what I'm trying to ask is, like, let's say that I'm the apprentice on the job, or I'm just one of the guys who's on the job. And I know all this is going on. I can see it's not an electrical problem, it's an HVAC problem. is the right thing to do to call the HVAC guy, clear it with him that he can make it out here, and then call you back because I'm like the apprentice or the guy on the job and just say, hey, here's what's happening. I called this guy. He's on his way out here. I just want to make sure you know what's going on. Is that like an appropriate type of call to make?
Like just call Andre and just tell him he'll be here in a couple of hours, and then we would finish up and leave. Is that what you meant?
No, no, no. Like, let's say you're not there. I'm there. I'm working on the job. I have this stuff kind of figured out. But the problem is I'm having to call these people and say, okay, this is what's going on. I'm handling the situation. But then I call you just to let you know what's going on. Just to say, hey, I just want to make sure you're aware that's going on. You are paying, like, let's just say you're paying me hourly or whatever. Here's what's going on. I'm being paid hourly. I want you to know what's going on. Do you want me to, like, here, I can clock out for the next 2 hours while he is arriving here. I'm going to go get some food. I just want you to know what's going on.
Yeah, that again, like that's just a coordination point.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's the situation. Andre, in 2 hours, you know, yeah, me to do. You want me to try and take another job? You know, it all depends. What if there's another call in the area? Yeah,
Okay.
why don't you just go do the call and then make your way back after that call?
I see. Okay. So I guess what's the difference then between coordination and how would you define coordination?
Well, coordinating with people is aligning, like, bringing people together,
Okay.
putting things in a row.
Mhm.
Communication is a big part. So you're really letting people know,
Mhm.
hey, I'm over on first base here.
Okay.
I know you're at home base.
Okay.
Do you know who's on third base?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
yeah, Joe's on third base. Oh, okay, Joe's on third base. Okay, so I won't go there then. He's got that covered.
Okay.
Okay, good. What do you think I should do next? I got this 2 hour window. You could go
Gotcha.
to my house, get the supplies for job, get the truck organized, and then you could do 10 door hangers left and right of that building.
Oh, wow. Okay. So still being productive, using the time effectively because you're on the job anyway.
Absolutely. There's never
Wow.
so a business entity, and it's alive. So
Yeah.
it's just like anything else. At
Wow.
it, yeah, you don't let up on it. It's got to keep on rolling,
Right. Right.
or it will stop. And a
Yeah.
lot of businesses don't roll; they stop.
So the idea is just to keep the production moving in a direction.
Yeah, it's a flow. You got to keep the flow. You got to keep the motion, the work, the action.
Okay.
Keep people interested. Not let them do things that are counterproductive,
Yeah.
which just leads to more counterproductive activity. Like if it was a person like watching, well, what's on, like this is counterproductive to his marriage.
Mm.
Might be a common one out to bring it up, but the same. It's like, I'm going to just not say anything. I'm just going to sleep in the truck now for an hour, and then I'll call in an hour and tell them, you see, this will be a counterproductive, non-survival, which then starts to affect the business negatively, and
Mm.
that continues. It might get worse, probably will. Usually it does when people do that. I've found people sleeping in trucks when they're supposed to be working.
Mhm.
I'll just roll up on a job because I'll get I signs, so then I'll just make it my up on the job, and then they go, oh shoot, like we can't just do nothing here. Yeah, and then they're telling the customer lies. You see, they're telling me lies, and it just becomes to be a big issue.
I see. I see. So what I'm gathering from this is that it's about being as productive as possible. It's also about being as ethical as possible. And it's about being solution orientated on the job.
Yeah, I mean, if you had those and you understood that was the way to think,
Yeah.
and then you went about your business doing that,
Yeah.
and you would have a job. That's for
Wow.
sure.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, you would definitely have a job with that type of mindset,
Mm.
and you actually carried that out,
Wow.
and did that. And I think that's what I've done. Like I know I have a job,
Mm.
and I know I'll always have a job.
Yeah.
That's a, for me, that game, the next game then is to create jobs and then
Wow.
get people, see that's what keeps me interested in the game.
Hmm.
So my purpose now isn't to have a job, it's to create jobs.
Wow.
So now I'm in the game of a lot of learning myself on how do you do that? How do you create a job for people?
Hmm.
How do you motivate and get people going, and then how do you train people?
Mm.
And um how do you expand the business so you can actually have jobs for people? So
Mm.
there's a lot to learn on that. That's a big game.
Hmm.
That's a new game. It's a newer game for me that I've gotten started into in the last 5 years or so, really.
Interesting. Okay. That's awesome. Congrats, by the way, on that.
Yeah, you gotta keep, your purpose. You've got to keep the purpose alive, like
Mm.
a reason for doing something,
Hmm.
you know. Otherwise, well, if you don't have any purpose in life, it's not going to be very fun, is it?
No.
Because what do you do? You just become idle,
Mhm.
you know.
Totally.
So I've always liked to help people. I do help people.
Yeah.
I always work in that direction of help. How can I help you? How can I help you? What would be the best help to provide here in this situation? So I've done it in electrical. So I've chosen trade, so let me so then, I know what I don't want. I don't want, say, salespeople lying to my customer.
Right.
That doesn't help. So we have a policy. You never lie to the customer. Duffy Electric. Never lie. He asks you something, you just tell him.
Okay.
And he says, "Oh my God, then, this shouldn't cost this much money." Well, look, this is what it is, but you lie to the
Mm.
customer. You don't try and do that's so then now you start lying to one customer. Next thing you're lying to the next customer. Next thing you're lying to everybody, your wife included.
That
So you don't want that.
makes sense.
So it's like the point is it's just that it's a big responsibility.
Mm.
And I don't think I'm forming a group and running a group within a group.
Yeah,
And so that's a big game. Like,
I agree.
it's fun. It's fun. It's really fun. Like I had a great day today, Sunday. It was just fun.
Nice.
And it's just nice to help people and to solve some problems and, you know, customers and it's just rewarding, not only financially, but just like mentally and spiritually. I think you need some life to keep you going. Life isn't easy. I've never said it was easy,
Mm.
and I don't think anyone has. I've never heard anyone say life is easy.
Mm.
So in my opinion, you need to be helping people
Mm.
to keep the wolves away from your own door.
I like
You
that.
just you just do.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. 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 Well, cool, Brian. I think this is a great first episode, and just for the fact that we nailed so many, like, I feel like vital and very important things, makes it a very good place to start, because now you have, in my viewpoint, someone who's coming in as on the first day of the job, they already have the mentality of like, I want to be an ethical, hardworking, learning, helpful person on the job. I don't want to just be a time sucker. I don't want to think about, you know, any of like, I feel like we encompass so much that it really is like the first step towards having someone have a more successful and productive career. And I think like that by itself is gold.
Right. And I just want to be clear on this word. We're not talking about right and wrong. We're talking like ethics
Mm,
and this subject.
yeah.
This is about survival
Mm,
and surviving at a you can survive. You're going to survive, right? You're going to live.
yeah.
And you can live at different levels.
Hmm.
You can live a bum on the street he's surviving,
Right.
but he's not surviving at a high. We would say that's quite low level. Like he's on the street, he's got nothing,
Yeah.
and he doesn't even have a job. He really has no hope,
Right.
and he's begging. Right that's. But he might even think that that's in his mind. Yeah, he might think that that's the right thing to do. You see, yeah. So when we're talking about being ethical, we're talking about, what's the highest amount of survival that we can create? And that's what I think is important about that word. And that's where, to customers, not lying to your workers, being honest and truthful
Yeah.
and doing the best you can possibly do. Like give it all. Give it all. Just
Mm.
leave it all there at the job and then go home with your chest out. Now you're being ethical.
Yeah.
That's ethics. Your chest
Yeah.
sticking out. You're smiling. And you go home knowing that you did right.
Mm. You
That
put
you did what you could.
yeah. You put
See,
100% in.
now your ethics is in.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's an important point.
I agree
Yeah.
completely.
So not everyone achieves that just in this world. I can't say that's true for everyone.
Right.
Not anyone listening would agree. Like you really come home and go, wow, really, really
Mm.
proud of what I glad I'm
Yeah.
doing this. I'm happy about it. I'm like, I didn't buckle. I didn't, bow to reason people might do. Like here, if I pay you cash, can we not? You'll hear that a lot, right? Customer will say, hey, if I give you, then let's not pay the state their due money,
Oh, I see.
the state tax, right? Well, we have a policy on that. It's like that's we have a policy. We don't collect taxes. We don't charge taxes. We for government. You would have if
Yeah.
you don't want to pay your taxes, you have to call the New York State.
Good. Good. Brian, we're at an awesome point.
Good, good, good.
Oh yeah.
Great,
No.
awesome.
Cool. Great.
Great.
Yeah.
No, it's good. That's right. And it's obviously a lot to it. A lot
Oh
more.
yeah, completely. Yeah, no, this is like a series of episodes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, and it's awesome. And I think this is one of the great reasons why like how this is coming about because I've only been on like 2 jobs with you. I have other experience in the trades, but like for this, like I don't have anywhere near the amount of education that I need to know what to do on jobs and stuff. That's why I think like going on the jobs with you and then coming back and doing the podcast will be beneficial because that way it'll create not only great content for people to listen to, but it'll be a huge learning experience that will give somebody else a big education in the right direction too.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. These will be good, for people to listen to. And the main thing I'm seeing today is like we're really describing like how do you think about this job?
Yeah.
Right? Like what is the correct mindset in order to do the job? If you don't have the correct mindset, all else can fail.
Yeah.
So that's important.
You know, and it's crazy that you're saying that. I should actually get the clip of the guy who said this, but he very clearly lays it out, and he owns two multi-million-dollar companies that he's like, it's like 90% of it is having the right mindset. And I'm like, mic drop. It's so cool. So I think I'll like throw
Yeah.
that one in here. But yeah, no, I think you're spot on.
Yeah.
Like totally accurate.
Yeah, the it's coming in and out a little bit. I don't know if you can hear me, but definitely it's something that I work on week
Nice.
to week. You know, how do you, if you want to know how do you change your mindset? How do you change your attitude?
Yeah.
Well, the way you do it is via education.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You've got to you've got to crack some books open.
Yeah.
You've got to listen to podcasts like this. Got to start filling your mind with information that's going to help you have realizations.
Yeah.
So you can start to change.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Cool, man. Well, hey, this is fantastic. I think this is a really good spot for us to end off.
Cool.
And I think that I'm really excited to get this out. You'll know exactly when it gets out because you might want to deliver it to your guys or something. I don't know. I want to make sure this benefits you as well.
Yeah, we could, I think so too. I think this would be good for us to do. When we do our weekly training,
Yeah.
this could be good for us to listen to. We've listened to the QBQ on audiobook.
Okay.
You know, I trained all the guys on that. We do other training. And this is good viewpoint training. Like you have to train your viewpoint. You have to it's like a muscle.
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Awesome. Cool. Alrighty, great. Well, I'm really excited about this. I'm glad that this benefits both of us. And other than that, I'm gonna start getting ready for bed. So thanks again for your time. I definitely respect you and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I appreciate you too, man. And doing these podcasts is a great idea. A great training tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
This is okay, brother.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.